It seems wokery will be the death of Hollywood, according to some industry directors.
It used to be you would go home at the end of the day, most people would go, oh, Cheers is on, oh, MASH is on, oh, Mary Tyler Moore is on, All in the Family's on. You just expected, there'll be some funny stuff we can watch on TV tonight. Well, guess what? Where is it? This is the result of the extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people.
Hollywood, which used to be the golden center of entertainment, has become quite pale of its former sparkle. The arrival of woke culture has shaken the movie industry to its core, and audiences are eager for something different. The glamorous glory of Hollywood is over now. The curtain falls and a new act rises as the novel sets the stage of New Hollywood, a Hollywood of a post-apocalyptic world where everything is not as it used to be.
It used to be you would go home at the end of the day, most people would go, oh, Cheers is on, oh, MASH is on, oh, Mary Tyler Moore is on, All in the Family's on. You just expected, there'll be some funny stuff we can watch on TV tonight. Well, guess what? Where is it? This is the result of the extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people.
Nighttime has always been a source of fear for inhabitants of this world, as it means that dreams that used to light up without the stars may disappear, and the fairy tales which once warmed people's hearts are now recast for a different set of goals. Here is the post-world, the post-film world that no one knew could exist until organizations began fighting for creative control. Hollywood has been exposed as the all-conquering colossus in the field of entertainment it once was, and is now at the very brink of failure. The industry that gave us laughter and touching sitcoms and fantastic movies is now infested with what they call woke culture. Such a change has occurred from people's aim to be culturally sensitive and politically correct to the brim, thus reducing the quality of the creativity and the satisfaction of the audience. Say goodbye to a culture in which people looked forward to their favorite programs as much as they used to look forward to their favorite episodes of Cheers or MASH. Now, this core of American culture is almost unrecognizable. It has been revealed here that Hollywood brought the collapse on itself by focusing on political correctness at the detriment of good movies. What was once a rich environment could flourish. Creativity has been stifled by the much-present fear of offending someone, fear of a backlash, or simply the fear of overstepping the boundary imposed by the activist. This has entailed a series of poor-tasting productions, which have been insensitive to the extent of appealing to a larger market. Now, the show is more about responding to each potential complaint, and thus, what we have left is neither interesting nor enjoyable. Recent articles in reputable magazines such as Hollywood Reporter and Bloomberg have given a negative outlook of Hollywood. The ticket sales are decreasing. People who are otherwise avid consumers of movies are shunning the very industry that has defined them. It is not only a crisis of cash, it is a crisis of relativity. Once known as the world's entertainment capital, Hollywood can no longer create anything remotely genuinely exciting. Comedy, a genre that was once the crown jewel of television and film, has been particularly hard hit. Shows like Seinfeld and Friends thrived because they were unafraid to push boundaries and tackle taboo subjects with humor. Today, that spirit of daring has all but disappeared. As comedians walk on eggshells to avoid offending anyone, the sharp edge that made comedy so great has been dulled. Even seasoned creators like Jerry Seinfeld have noted this decline, pointing out that the extreme left has made it nearly impossible to create anything genuinely funny. The problem isn't isolated to comedy, however. In fact, every strand that constituted Hollywood's business model is said to be fraying apart. The frequent and recent stoppages that virtually grounded the industry merely brought out the frailties of the business. Studios are waking up late to find the environment slowly shifting around them, and the remedies they offer are inadequate and delayed. The reliance on formulaic, predictable, safe content is systematically alienating the audience, and the core pillars upon which the industry was built are starting to creak. Todd Phillips, the director, who was known for his comedies before he made Joker, called the problem perfect. He recalled that the need to avoid offending people has led many of the most hilarious comedians out of business. The flood of talents has gone, and Hollywood to this date has never been able to meet the standards of creativity in making awesome content. As we stand on the precipice of what could be Hollywood's demise, the industry's leaders face a choice. Further choices will lead them down this path of self-destruction, or they will be able to make some strong decisions and get back their creative control. The eyes of the world are on the world, and time is running out. the one time Hollywood has hit its rock bottom and it has to reinvent it or die a slow death. It is therefore, in this postmodern, apocalyptic Hollywood, that the survival mantra will not be to conform, but to be different as it was before. The entertainment business is struggling, and there is severe intensity in the existing competition. As Judd Apatow says, Netflix's action to license HBO programs is a pointer to something unhealthy. Because of fewer orders for new programs and more focus on the prior successful programs, the studios are under pressure. For consumers, the ultimate enemy number one: YouTube, which provided virtually free content. Looking at the present-day conditions, there is a significant change. If people feel bored and wish to have free entertainment, they can have plenty of it from the social networks and various apps. The industry has tried and mostly failed to reinvigorate iconic franchises that have helped to define it. Hollywood has bizarrely spent billions on lovely franchises, and at the same time has encouraged the hatred of the very audiences it was founded by. Continuations of franchises such as Star Wars, Star Trek, and the DC Universe and others can all be considered to be slowly rotting in the graveyard of failed franchise reboots and lackluster sequels. Disney Marvel's recent stumbles with films like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania and the Marvels reflect a problem. Between demand and supply in the marketplace, Hollywood fails. Superhero fatigue is often cited as a reason for Marvel's suffering, but of course, this is simply not true. People are beginning to tire of just plain bad everywhere, writing, acting, and production included. Marvel directors Joe and Anthony Russo cited a generational issue where the audience is challenged in the way it indulges in content. But this explanation is not quite sufficient. Films like Dune Part 2 and Oppenheimer, movies that show the audience many minutes of nonfiction, are proof that the problem is not in attention spans. Actually, the issue at stake is that Hollywood has not really understood what the audience wants. The decline in ticket sales and the increase in failed projects indicate that there is a deeper problem at issue. Some of the writers' demands were met. However, as for the potential for turning the tide next year, it could be that 2024 will be slightly less overstuffed with disappointing products. However, with the strike disabling the film industry, meaning that there are less productions in the pipeline that needs to be rushed out in order to turn profit, it is possible for quality to rise above it all, if only briefly. Shows like House of the Dragon and films like Doom. Part 2 may be somewhat more pleasant, but they are going to be anything but the norm. Ultimately, Hollywood faces a stark choice. This is a time for Compact to shift with the changing environment or carry on as it experiences a decline in fortunes. The industry has to challenge itself and address the core problems, as well as reestablish the connection with the viewers and transform. If it does not, then the hallowed wasteland of Hollywood could turn into a permanent post-apocalyptic set with audiences going through the motions elsewhere. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and comment what are your thoughts.